Hello, everybody. Tarek37 here. Welcome back to, or well, I guess not welcome back. This is a new one. Welcome to Let's Solo the Cosmere RPG, Stormlight Archive. I've only read. Let me get this out of the way. I've only read the first two Stormlight Archive books, and I read the second. I finished the second one a while ago, so I'm a bit fuzzy. Um, I did back the Kickstarter, but more to back to the Kickstarter, but I got the cool liquid core dice, um, and I got the core book. I got the first step uh, book, the Welcome to Roshar booklet, maps, got the GM screen. I did not get the Stormlight. I did not get the Stormlight World book, and then realized that had the bestiary, so I got that PDF separately. Um, so that's what happened with that. Um, and so I'm going to go through the. There's two versions of the first step. First, there's the like level. The first step is a level 0 kind of session. The idea basically being like you start at level 0, and then by the end of it, you've built your level 1 character. It's kind of a choose your own adventure kind of thing with some roles mixed in to help you get used to the rules, get used to how the system works, and get you a little bit used to the world. Um, the dice system is I will say also I've played through this particular scenario a lot. um, I really like this system and the setting. This system is a D20 system, but um, the thing I like about this system is it borrows a lot from this. I feel like, and I think they even said from the Genesis slash Star Wars Fantasy Flight games system. Um, so yeah, you roll a d20, but sometimes you'll be called to roll what's called the plot die. And the plot die is a d6. Two of the sides are blank. Two of the sides generate an opportunity, and two of the sides will generate a complication, but also add either 2 or 4 to your roll. So if you roll a complication on the plot die, you might still succeed, but something bad happens, or you could fail and something bad happens independently. Oh, that was another thing I got. I got the plot deck, which I don't have in front of me right now. Um, but it gives examples of, well, what do you do with an opportunity? What do you do with a complication? And some of them, a lot of them, the idea seems to be you're not necessarily uh, making things harder for yourself. You might be more just you have added a wrinkle to the narrative that will come up. Like I think one of the examples of a complication in battle is basically you do something really stupid that's going to get brought up for a long time afterwards. So that might affect conversations later on. That might be just be something where it's like, yeah, in the future you might be made fun of. Even if you succeed, it might have looked really silly, and you're going to be made fun of, even though you ended up winning the day. It depends. So, um, other than that, standard D20 system, you add your attribute, add your skill ranks. Um, you can have advantage. However, one thing that I like in this system is you roll all your dice at the same time. So when you roll an attack roll, you also roll your damage roll. And when you get advantage, you pick one of the dice to have advantage. So if you're like very sure you're going to hit, you might say, I want to make sure I do more damage. So you might try to roll for advantage on your dice, on your damage die. So you'll roll 2 of that and take the better of those. Um, and that's about all I remember off the top of my head. I've put this one as unnamed. This character is unnamed. The game says when you do this, set everything at 1 at the start. All your stats start at 1 because you're building your character from the ground up. every attribute score is at 1. There is also, hold on, I forgot about um, this particular thing. So what there is also a sheet on here that is is a tracking sheet, and it's basically like what heroic paths, which are your classes, were you favoring as you played through? What ideals were you favoring? And there's also resources tracking. You start with one resource, and it can never go below 0. So, I guess I don't have my resources thing on. That's okay. I'm just gonna delete that and delete that. Delete that. Oh, I did get the to make this a bit easier on myself. I did get there is a Foundry module that you can buy that gets all like the baseline, like the base rule book and items in there like weapons, armor. Oh, thank God they. When I first downloaded this, they kind of like consolidated it all. They didn't consolidate it at all. They did not consolidate it at all. Gosh. Um, so here you can see got starting kits, travel, weapons, fabrials, which I still don't entirely understand if I'm honest. At least how it works in this game. And armor, shard plate, radiant shard plate. There is a difference, just like there is a difference between a shard blade and a radiant shard blade. I do know that. I will admit some of my stuff got spoiled when I read the book, but the world book, because the world book actually spends some time explaining like the history of the world and everything. So there's some stuff that I probably know that I shouldn't necessarily know yet. But that's okay. Anyway, back to the solo tracking sheet. There's also an endeavor. That is basically my example came from Star Wars Saga Edition, but it's a skill challenge, which I think might have been introduced in either 3.5 or 4th edition, probably 3.5. And it's basically you need a certain number of successes before a certain number of failures to pass the challenge. If you get those successes, great, you passed. If you fail, you have to deal with the consequences. So, one other thing I'll cover. No, I'll cover this when we get to combat because the initiative system is interesting. So here we have our unnamed character, and I will start reading the flavor text. So, gotta go back up to part 1. It's been weeks since you last saw the Windblades of Kholinar when you joined this caravan and began your travels to the Shattered Plains. Your journey has taken you south through Kholinar and along the Thenadal border before continuing east towards the war camps. At the end of another long day, Bright Lady Ralanat, the caravan's noblewoman leader, decides to set up camp in a nearby ravine. Its steep walls promise protection from both bandits and high storms, the tempests that rage across Roshar every few days. The Chulls, horse-sized crustaceans, make their slow descent into the ravine. As you settle in, the only sounds you hear are the Kholin soldiers' quiet conversation and the soft clicks of dozing Chulls. You too are nodding off when a panicked sentry cries, "Bandits!" Startled, you hurry to the center of camp to find spear infantry streaming down the east side of the ravine. These aren't undisciplined bandits. They move with military precision. To the west, arrows whistle towards civilians who clutch their belongings as they run. Many fall, arrow shafts protruding from their backs. Fear sprints seep from the ground, forming purple pools around the boots of the minuscule Kholin military contingent guarding the caravan. So, this is the first choice. And I decided to do like rolling for this for a lot of the decisions, basically because Otherwise, I keep making the same character over and over again, which is why I like randomizing my characters a lot, because it's like, alright, I have to, if I randomize it completely, I am not playing the same character every time. So, our 4 choices are: search your gear for something useful, check on the people who were ambushed by the archers, grab a weapon and engage the spear infantry, or run toward the center of camp to find Bright Lady Ralinat. So, I'll roll a d4. Whoop. No, not 2d4, just 1d4. Let me see if I right click. There we go. And then I hit roll here. Alright. So, we are going to check on the people who were ambushed by the archers. Go to B, page 15. Alright. Some merchants who joined the caravan for protection only yesterday now lie pinned to the ground, their bodies riddled with arrows fletched with brown and red. Do you recognize the colors on the arrows? I'm going to leave that up as a 50-50 with the D100, and below 50, like 50 and below, we do. 51 and above, we do not. Alright, so we do. Yes, so we gain the Alethi expertise. Let me see if that's in here. Character features? No, that's not it. Cultures? Is that gonna go in here? Where are the expertises on here? Oh, here we go. And we gain the Alethi expertise. So, those are the colors of High Prince Thanadal. Thanadal is a rival to Bright Lord Adolin, your caravan's owner. So, we have an expertise in Alethi culture. Packages once held so dear lie scattered, their contents spilled across the dirt. One of the merchants, a Thalen woman, lies on her side, coughing blood onto her bright orange dress. "Help me," she says desperately, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. Violet fear-sprin globules wriggle around her and the arrow lodged in her back. Before he can act, a voice yells from the ridgetop, "Archers ready!" Do you help the woman, grab whatever spilled onto the ground and run before you're the next target, or attempt to ascend the ravine wall to outflank the archers? So, roll a d6. 1 to 2 will be the first option, 3 to 4 the next option, and so on. Alright, we are going to attempt to ascend the ravine wall to outflank the archers, so we're going to go to B3. So, now we get to bump either our strength or our speed up by 1. I'm going to go with speed, because I think that makes the most sense to me. If we're attempting to flank them, then we need to be fast. Clinging to the near vertical walls of the ravine, you avoid the keen eyes of the archers above you. You crest the ridge and slide over to a rocky outcrop. From your vantage point, you can see archers aiming into the ravine, arrows nocked. "Wait for stragglers, men," the soldier in command mutters to his troops in a low voice. "Pick them off, one by one." Do you improvise a melee weapon, then leap at the archers and attempt to take them down in close quarters combat? Buy the caravan guard some time by picking up a rock and throwing it far away from you in hopes the archers fire at the sound? Or 3. Stay hidden until a better opportunity presents itself. Alright, so I'm going to roll a d6 again for that. We'll see what I do. Alright, so that is option number 2. Buy the caravan guard some time by picking up a rock and throwing it far away from you in hopes the archers fire at the sound. So, that means we get the ideal. I'll put a notch in the ideal of secrecy. And we get a +2 to deception, to our deception skill. Let's see. Alright. +2 our deception skill, and now we need to make a DC 10 deception test. Or wait, oops. That was deduction, not deception. Okay. Alright. Now we make a deception check, and the DC is 10. And attribute presence. That works. So, let's see what we get. 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright. So, journal about how you've used this trick to your benefit in the past, and we get resources +2. So, let me get. I've got scratch paper that I'm using right now. Resources. Got 2 at the moment. So, journal about how you've used this trick to your benefit in the past. Honestly, I think this implies that if we've done this in the past, then our character has done if our character has done this in the past, then that means okay, sorry, I'm reading ahead to try to figure out what's if I get something different. There's a part where it's like, I think it's after the failure. If you're failed, then you get attacked by the archers and have to run away, and then in between volleys you get some other things. So, I think this implies to me that if we've done this before, then we know our character is maybe a bit of a roguish type, so they've probably done this to distract guards in the past to slip by, maybe even to like scare off predators. So that's another option. There are a few options there. Yeah. So I think failure we'd have a different outcome than getting the 2 +2 resources. Because we get +1 resources and then a path, a goal, and an attribute, it looks like. Or something along those lines. Alright, but now we go to part 2. Part 2, A Night in the Ravine. So, mechanics checkpoint. No attribute can be raised above 3 at character creation. If any are above 3, reduce them to 3. You should add points to attributes until they have a total of 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I need to add 2. So this one's going to go to 2. And I'm going to put, given our guys apparently, deception is based off presence, and I'm going to go intelligence to make because that I think that's a clever trick, so that should also fall under intelligence. The caravan rallies. Despite the initial shock of the ambush, the soldiers of House Colon are well trained. The remaining troops form a tight line, recollecting themselves and surging forward like a storm wall, crashing into the ambushers. Reorganized and reinvigorated, the tide of battle shifts in favor of the blue-clad Colon troops, and their enemies waver. Cheers go up among the Colon caravan soldiers, their spirits buoyed as they mount a defense. Journal about your response as the tide of battle turns. I think our unnamed character is definitely feeling, one, a bit proud at maybe they feel that, oh, I've done something to help. They probably have. They did buy some time. But I think just probably a sense of relief that, okay, maybe we're going to get out of this without anything bad going on. And now we get a couple of options of choose 2 of the following options and roll their tests. I'll roll a d6 and we'll kind of figure out what's going on there. 4. Rally troops and push forward to break the spirit of the attackers. Path of the leader. Right. And ideal tenacity. Okay. Okay. And need to make a DC 12 leadership test. And for every one of these successes, our resources go up by 1. So we'll see. It's a DC 12, so it's a little bit more difficult now. Hey, 14. All right. Resources just went up. 2, 3. All right. Let's roll D6 and see what the next option is. If we get the same one, we're going to roll again, because shouldn't be doing the same one. Okay, 5. Step in the way of an attacker trying to skewer a caravan soldier. Get the path of the warrior. Tick there. And the ideal of protection. Alright, and then we need to make either a DC 12 heavy weaponry or a light weaponry test. I'm going to say light weaponry, given that that is based on speed, and that's what we're better at. DC 12, let's see what happens. I am rolling so much better on this darn tabletop than I do when I'm just rolling the actual dice. What the hell? Alright, so we're up to 4 resources now. That's very good. Alright. So, journal about your successes and failures. Describe how your decisions and your actions impact the caravan and the people around you. So the first thing we did was a leadership test to rally the troops and push forward to break the spirit of the attackers. So our unnamed character decides to probably give like a brief, I don't know, not a speech, but maybe a confidence boosting like roar of they're nothing into our discipline. Drive them back, or something along those lines. I'm not good at speeches. Step in the way of an attacker trying to skewer a caravan soldier. He's leading a maybe instead of maybe the attacker, someone threw their spear at a soldier and he like tackled him out of the way or something along those lines. Yeah, I think that works. Above the din, a wordless battle cry rings across the chasm. All eyes turn to see an imposing figure, clad in black armor, standing at the ravine's southern end. A wicked blade coalesces from thin air in their hand, and the ground around their feet bubbles with anger spren. They bellow once more, launching themselves through the air. Their hulking form blots out what remains of the daylight as they land in the remaining caravan amid the remaining caravan soldiers, scattering them like cremlings before a chasm fiend. The warrior stalks forward with supreme confidence, their blade passing effortlessly through bodies. Corpses with smoking eyes litter the ground. The caravan soldiers stand no chance against a full shard bearer in all their storm-born glory. Journal about how seeing this giant warrior for the first time makes you feel. I don't think our unnamed character has ever seen a shard bearer like this, and he is panicking. He is terrified and doesn't know what to do, which means now it is time for another choice. Do we run for cover, given the shift in battle? Knock an arrow to launch an attack, despite the odds? Try to identify who this new opponent might be? Tend to the wounded, despite the danger? Or call out for the remaining caravan soldiers to form on you? This is 5 choices. I'm going to roll a d10, and 1 to 2. You know how it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is the third option. Try to identify who this new opponent might be. So, the path of the agent and the scholar both go up by 1. And the ideal of truth. We have really not picked anything, which kind of goes with it. We need to make a DC 15 lore test. Ugh. All right. This is not going to go well, but, you know. Are you kidding me? Okay, dirty 20. The attacker stands in stone stance. The armor looks like it's been painted over. You can see yellow peeking through where the armor has been scratched. We either get an expertise in dueling conventions or high society. I'm gonna say probably. Dueling conventions or high society? Hold on, give me a second. I need to see which one that falls under in the core book. Because they got a list of expertises in the core book, I believe. Dueling conventions or high society? Ba, 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 ba. Expertise categories. Come on. Alright, I guess it doesn't really. Hold on. It might be somewhere in. Yeah, there's utility. High society is cultural. Dueling is probably. I'm not seeing that under here, so it. That's difficult to say. Okay. I think then. Ooh, went too far in the book. We'll go with dueling conventions, and I'm going to call that utility. Not. Ah. I'm going to blame that on my hands being cold. My inability to type. Alright. So, journal about why you take the actions given the dire situation you're in. I think, given what the character has seen so far, these aren't bandits. They're not acting like bandits. He knows he can't. He knows he can't fight them. He's not a fighter, or I think, despite him getting a pointed warrior, he's not a. He's not much of a fighter. So the only thing he can think to do is to just take cover and try to figure out something that might help, something that might come in handy when all this is said and done if he survives. Before you can do anything else, the armored warrior leaps once again, shard blade pointed skyward, their shard plate propelling them toward their destination, a rough-hewn wall built atop the cliff at the northern edge of the canyon. They slash downward in a vicious arc, cutting through the wooden wall with a single stroke. A low rumble quickly becomes a cacophony as huge stones crash into the gorge. "Run!" someone yells. Without mercy, rocks pulverize the caravan's last defenders. Painspren erupt from the ground, latching onto any Colon caravan soldiers who didn't perish in the brutal trap. And then we have 4 options. I will roll a d4. We'll see which one we end up doing. 3. Sacrifice your own safety to cover a wounded soldier who is about to get trampled in the chaos. We get an ideal in protection. Hey, the first one we've gotten a second thing in. Journal about how you feel watching others suffer. Then read the following. I'm going to say this character, he does not like seeing people suffer. If I had to guess, he has not done a lot of whatever his job was before now, which I think is probably some element of thieving, given his sneaking around. He probably has been like trying to avoid hurting people as much as possible, whether that be because he actually cares or whether that be because he knows how. I think it's because he cares. Otherwise, he wouldn't be feeling bad about seeing these other people suffer quite like this. With the trap sprung to deadly effect and the caravan boxed in, neither the enemy shard bearer nor their troops stay to witness the attack's aftermath, callously abandoning any survivors to their fate. Only faint moans and fretful clicks are heard now, a stark contrast to the recent tumult of combat. So, Left for Dead, you must last through the night. The few survivors eye each other warily, and there is open talk about everyone going their separate ways. You must rally the survivors, tend to the wounded, and re-establish the camp if you don't want what remains of this caravan to fall apart. Um, and I'm going to say, whoever our character is, he does not want the caravan to fall apart because they are out in the Shattered Plains. They are out in a dangerous place where there are people trying to kill them. There are creatures trying to kill them. They have, at the moment, the ravines is the only shelter they have if a high storm comes. And high storms come like every 5 days. So you really do not want a high storm coming in and just because high storms are in this world are dangerous. They are deadly. You do not want to be out in a high storm. And if everyone just kind of scatters, more people are going to die. So, this is the Endeavor. And so we have a few options. There's a D4 first to determine like which of 4 options, and then there's 3 options within each one, and then you can always come up with your own approaches, but each one has to have a DC 12 check and be connected to a path and an ideal. So we're going to try to do as many of these as possible. If something comes up that I think works, we'll do that. But D4 and then a D6. 3 and a 1. So E3, 1. Going to use medical training to provide assistance. So Path of Scholar goes up by 1. Okay. And Ideal of Remembrance. These ideals, I don't think I mentioned this, they're important because at level 2 you can start going on a Radiant path where you can become one of the Knights Radiant of the setting. And you can get your own cool armor and sword and do all sorts of cool and get some cool spells because the only people who can cast spells are the Knights Radiant as far as I am aware. Again, I've only really read the second book. So we're going to do a DC 12 medicine check and see how that goes. Alright, 14. That is a success, so I will mark down. Gonna get another freaking sheet of paper. Successes. Failures. Get 1 success, and I believe we need to get, I think it's 4 successes before 3 failures. Let me double check. Yes, we need 4 successes before 3 failures. So, so our character apparently has some amount of medical training and does what he can to kind of show that, hey, at the very least, you can't just leave me behind because if something happens, I can help heal you. So you really don't want me to go away. Alright, E1 and number 1. So he's going to try to organize and order the survivors' help. Puts another point towards leader path. And another point, and a point towards the potential ideal. So he's going to be trying to say, trying to show, hey, we can still survive this together, but only if we do this together. So we'll see what happens. That 7, 8, 9. That is a failure. His words don't really carry that much weight. Yeah. What's that do? Oh, interesting. You can click to roll with advantage afterwards. That's actually really helpful, come to think of it. to because sometimes you forget. Okay, that's neat. That's a neat little thing you can do. All right. So our guy here, it, he's on the path of leadership, but he's not good at it. Let's see what's the next one. E2 and then number 2, and then I believe that is the second option. So find food and water in the barren chasm. Well, that's a tough one, but that gives a point towards Hunter. That's a new one for us. And the ideal of self-mastery. A new ideal for us. All right. And it is going to be a DC 12 survival. 6. Failure. We're in a barren chasm. There's not much food or water. So we're at 2 failures. So now, this the book recommends when you get to 2 failures or 3 successes, you start adding the plot die. So, you raise the stakes. You add the plot die. The plot die is, I explained it at the start. 6-sided die. 2 of the sides are blank. 2 of the sides give you an opportunity. 2 of the sides will give you a complication, but also add to your roll either a 2 or a 4. Basically, if you roll a 1, you double it and add that to the roll, but give yourself a complication. If you roll a 2, double it, add that to your roll, give yourself a complication. So, let's see what our next option is. E4, and the last option there. Use your keen vision to spy approaching enemies. It's DC 12 perception. Path of the Hunter again. So we're at 2 there. And the ideal is justice, which I think is yet another new path or ideal. It is! Alright, justice. I think at this point we've touched on nearly every ideal in the game. Alright, so we're going to do a DC 12 perception, but we are going to raise the stakes. Alright, well, we got a dirty 20. We succeeded, but we did not, the plot die didn't actually do anything, which is okay. So, he uses his keen vision to try to spy on, see if anyone's hunting. Doesn't look like it. From his perspective, it's like he's like looking, and there doesn't seem to be any signs they're coming back. They've already given up. So, what's the next step? What's the next thing? First option, second. Okay. So this time he's going to try to convince the survivors to help with promises. It's a DC 12 persuasion. Path of the Envoy. And the ideal of freedom, which, okay, that one also hasn't been picked yet. So, here we go again. And this is a DC 12 persuasion check. And we're going to raise the stakes on this. 13 with an opportunity. All right, that is another success. And with that opportunity, they do give us a couple of options. One of the NPCs feels indebted toward you, and a mysterious spren seems to be following you. Those are a couple of examples. I'm going to say a mysterious spren seems to be following you. I don't think he's really made enough of an impact yet on somebody. So I'll go to notes and add a little note here. A mysterious spren following you. Save there. There we go. I will say the UI, the style of everything is very good. I like the style of the UI and everything. All right, so we would be raising the stakes now if we didn't already have 2 failures. All right, let's figure out what our next option is. 3 in the first one. We already did that one. Roll again. That was the medical training one, so 3 in the last one. Carefully assess those whose wounds aren't merely physical. So, that's a DC 12 insight. Path of the envoy and the path of and the ideal of secrecy. So, there we go. Path of the envoy. Okay. We're going to do a DC 12 insight. He's going to try to find people who are suffering from the stress of the situation. 9. That is a failure. Alright, that is our 3rd failure. Unfortunately, he has a lot of trouble helping in that front. So, this is a failure. You survive the night, but several survivors succumb to their wounds and others desert the group, taking valuable supplies. You lose a resource, so we're down from 4 to 3. In addition, the poor sleeping conditions mean your character begins part 3 with the exhausted condition. So let's see here. Where are the conditions? Conditions. Oh, here we go. Exhausted. -1. Yep. So this explains what it does. When you gain this condition, it states a negative number in brackets. After you calculate a test result, before you resolve its effects, apply a penalty equal to this number. For each long rest, you reduce it by 1. The condition is removed when the penalty equals 0. It has a cumulative effect. If you gain a second instance, then it's a -2, and keep going. Final test result can't be less than 0 regardless of your penalty. So, we're at exhausted -1. Alright, as the caravan gathers in the morning, you ready yourself to face a new day on the Shattered Plains. In the Cosmere RPG, you can choose up to 2 cultures that represent the society or societies in which your character was raised or spent time. If you're familiar with Roshar, you can choose one of your character's cultures now, which they gain as an expertise. Otherwise, you pick an item from the cultural items table, gaining the associated culture as an expertise. Your character will then find an item from their culture among their belongings. If your character gained a culture from a previous event, choose an associated item from either culture. So let me count how many they have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright. Roll a d12, and we'll see which one we get. We already have the Alethi expertise. So 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Unkalaki get a chicken goose feather. Okay. So Unkalaki is his culture, and yeah, get a bit of a description, and okay. This is reminding me of Thrawn's name. Oh, chat description. Oh, can I not see that? Okay. In the Unkalaki tradition, a person's full name is a poem. In less formal situations, they go by a single word or phrase from their name. Okay, that again sounds like Thrawn. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can. see Stormlight Archive names. I'm going to go to fantasy name generators as usual. First four names want to do the Althkar people, Jakaved people, to the Thalana people. So two of their names are usually short. I'm not seeing. I could go through for chess names, but I don't think that's a good idea. Or I could just go with one of the example names. We'll go with. We'll just call him Harlan. Harlan. That's his name. He's part of the Unkalaki culture. And he gets a chicken goose feather as his. Is that under equipment? Yeah, I guess it is. Alright. Chicken goose feather. Yeah. Alright. Give him a name. General appearance. Probably not. Human. Let's see if that went over. Yep. Human for ancestry. Not one of the singers. So don't need to go through that. Journaling your backstory. Your character had a life before they joined this caravan. Roll a d10 at least twice to generate prompts for you to journal about. Alright, let's see what a good prompt would be. Let's just do one. At least for now. 8. What part of Roshar do you hope to see someday, and what part of Roshar do you never want to see again? I'm going to say the part of Roshar you never want to see again is the Shattered Plains, given everything that's happened so far. Part of Roshar he hopes to see someday. I'm going to guess that's a place that he's never been before. I'm going to say... No, I'm going to say he wants to see... I think it's called the Sea of Origins, I want to say. Because that is... kind of where people believe that the high storms come from. That there's like some place where those storms are born and are sent this way and are sent. They go from east to west, and they always come from east to west and always start from there. So he kind of wants to experience that, to like see that in person. Let's roll another d10 because I think that'd be an interesting thing to want to see. 9. Which cultural practices or family traditions do you hold dear, and which ones do you despise? Alright, well, let's see here what we got here. I'm going to say the traditions he holds dear is probably well, I'm going to say the one he despises is probably going to be probably this one. The each son's occupation is according to birth order. First two sons are assigned as hunters or farmers. Third is craftsman. The fourth is a warrior. He does not like that. So I'm going to say that's the one he does not like. I don't know enough about the Unkalaki to say what one he likes would be, so I'm going to leave that open-ended for now until I do some more research. Now we go to part 3. The Stranger. Alright. This scene focuses on combat. Let's see. No attribute can be raised above 3. At character creation, if any are above 3, reduce them to 3. You should add or remove attribute points until they have an exact total of 12. The total number of points for a level 1 character is 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, So 3 more. I'm going to put that there. 2 more. I'm going to put will at 2. And then I'm going to give a 3 to... Given... I feel like most of his failures were more interacting with people, so I'm going to put intellect at 3. Record several characteristics. Thankfully, Foundry has done that for us. We have a physical defense of 13, a cognitive defense of 15, and a spiritual defense of 14. Health is 10 plus strength, which this needs to go back to... let's see, can I... Oh, hold on. Can I say 11? There we go. And then focus is 2 plus willpower. So we're at 4 for focus. Don't need to worry about investiture. No skill can have ranks above 2 at character creation. You should add or remove ranks to skills until they have a total of 4 skill ranks. Okay. So... what was one they succeeded at? Persuasion. I'm going to put a point into persuasion. What's one... No, this was perception, but I don't want to put everything into spiritual, so let's find... let's do medicine. I think that's a good one. Alright, there we go. 4 ranks. Alright. Got the exhausted condition. Also remember the complication we have encountered result in reduced health and focus. We didn't actually get any complications. So... At dawn, Velen, the de facto captain of the remaining caravan soldiers, approaches you and takes stock of the tattered remnants of the caravan. Plumes of dusty brown exhaustion spiral around him. Most are in bad shape, he growls, gesturing at survivors. It'll take a week to shift those boulders. We'll need help. Looks at you appraisingly. There are other forces headed to the shattered plains. Would you be up to finding them and sending help back our way? If your goal accepts the mission from Velen, gain goal, send help to the caravan. I think that is a goal. That makes sense. So, add a new goal. Edit. Goal is send help to the caravan. Caravan. There we go. Heralds be praised for you. Larger caravan left not long after ours, headed to Covenant Stone Crossroads to the east. You might find help there. First, let's look at what sort of gear survived the rock slide and get you armed. The Covenant Stone Crossroads is a large stone formation in the unclaimed hills that protects caravans from high storms. This location is detailed in Chapter 1 of Stonewalkers, which is the campaign adventure thing that they do, the official one. So, yeah. So, your character can leave equipment for the survivors, but doing so reduces your resources before you equip yourself. Decide if your character leaves food, weapons, water, blankets, tools, or nothing. Alright, so we are at 3. I'm going to say we are going to leave food and water. So when we do food, resources goes down to 2. We get an ideal of remembrance. Get Path of Envoy and Path of Hunter. Alright, those are still tied. Alright, and then for leaving water, gain 1 to potential. Okay. The ideal of potential, 1 to the path of the leader and to the path of the warrior. Okay. Alright. So we are down to 1 resource. Alright, once your characters decided what, if anything, they leave for their survivors, they can equip themselves. Use the available resources table in Appendix A to determine how many common, uncommon, and rare items are available. Alright, and so then we have an item table. So, You should pick the piece of equipment that you wish to take with you. Your character does not have to take everything with them. Use the item entries to record the statistics of any items you find. Alright. So, we are going to go to the equipment page. We have one resource, so we get 2 common and 1 uncommon. So, we're going to roll 2d20 and 1d12. Alright. So the d12 gave us a 10, which gives us a side sword. I think that's very interesting because I don't. Let's see. Side sword. Handed, melee, quick draw. And then for the 2d20, a 5 and a 14. You got a food ration and oil. Okay. Equipment. Food ration. And oil. Where is oil? There we go. 1 flask of oil. Alright. Now back to this one. Character feels about the equipment available to them. I think that with the side sword, hold on. Equipped. There we go. Main hand and offhand. Okay. Got the side sword. 1d6 keen, traits quick draw, expert traits offhand, light weapon. It's a light weapon, which is good. For 40 marks, weighs 2 pounds. What's this do? Oh, okay. That's cool. Oh, cool. Alright. Alright. To round out your character's inventory, roll on the marks table to determine the number of marks you scavenge from the wreckage. So we'll roll 2d6. 11, so we get 3d12 marks. Wow. Well, I shouldn't say wow yet until I see what we roll. That's not bad. 25 marks. Marks is basically the currency of the setting. So where is that? Huh. Thought it would have been an inventory. Those are spheres, not they're connected to Mars. Interesting. Actually, let me see if maybe I can. Is that a? Oh, okay. It really went into the okay. Okay. I think diamond marks are like the baseline. Okay, they are. Cool. So, for ease, we're just gonna... Actually, maybe for ease I can... I saw one that was 25. I think it was actually the smokestone mark. No, that's not it. Smokestone, emerald, no. Heliodor, no. Why am I so obsessed with this? I don't know. Sapphire mark. That is worth 25. There we go. And it's an infused sphere. Cool. Alright. Leave the caravan, read your paraphrase following. You shoulder your pack and clamber over boulders, the pink and purple tendrils of finger moss retracting into their shells as you reach for handholds. Velen waves goodbye from the ravine. By midday, you have left the caravan far behind you. The day stretches long as you travel through the barren landscape. Small rock buds, hard-shelled plants, dot the side of the wagon track, and playful, translucent wind spren dart between waving grasses. As night falls on your first day of travel, you hear a cry of alarm, followed quickly by an ominous trumping. A curly-haired man wearing gray robes lurches into view. Orange pain spren, like long-fingered hands, claw their way up his body toward his arm, which he cradles across his chest. Seeing you, hope alights his face. "Help!" he cries, stumbling. Behind him, two feral axe hounds, six-limbed creatures, lope forward with frightening speed. How do you react to the oncoming axe hounds? Let's see. We're going to roll a d4 again, just to see how we do. 4. Back away slowly, not wishing to enrage the creatures. Interesting. F4. So, the path of the agent. Path of the scholar. Okay, this is not making it any easier to figure out what freaking path we're going on. Got a freaking four-way tie. The ideal of freedom and the ideal of secrecy. Alright, we've just hit our third rank in the secrecy ideal, which makes it the leader. And then we get +1 to stealth or survival. I think... I'm going to do stealth, because I think that fits with what we know about Harlan at this point. You take several steps backward, looking for a way out, but the axe hounds lock eyes on you and begin to close the distance. You must take a slow combat turn for your first round of combat. Go to running combat, page 33. Alright, so here we go. So how combat works is... hold on, I need to... Oh, there was the party resources thing. I just forgot to do it. Okay. Alright, going to do axe... I need to make axe hound... Not ace hounds, axe hounds. Oh wait, hold on. I think I was supposed to... Hold on. It's not a character, it's an adversary, and it is an axe hound. Alright. Let me pull up the stats here. Axe hound, it is a tier 1 minion. It is a small animal. Okay. Put in the base stats here. 220030. And I think in like actual character creation, like if you're not doing this, you can have stats just be 0. Health is 12. I'm gonna do custom for this. 12. There we go. 12, 12. Focus 2. Vesture 0. Movement. I'm gonna do custom. 40 feet. Physical skills. Agility. Hold on. Configure skills. There we go. Agility should be at a +4. Athletics should be at a +4. And stealth should be at a +3. Spiritual skills, perception +5. Jeez. And survival +4. There we go. No languages. Makes sense. Enhanced senses. The Axehound gains an advantage on non-attack tests that rely on smell. The Axehound's attacks can't critically hit, and they're immediately defeated when they suffer an injury. That's because they're a minion. They have 2 actions. Strike, bite, which is it's an attack of +4. Bite. It's just basic action, I guess. Activation type, 1 action. Skill test, I guess. Damage formula is 1d4 +4. +4 keen. 1d4 +4. Don't think it has modality. And if the target is medium or smaller, they can spend a focus to knock the target prone, then move up to 10 feet while dragging the target behind them. Limited use is none. That's a skill test. And the skill is... See, they have a +4. So it's... I'm going to say it's athletics. That's the only thing that makes sense. Okay. Make sure... Roll, yeah, 1d20 +4. Yep. Okay. 1d20 +4. While within 5 feet of an ally, the Axe Hound can use the gain advantage action as a free action. On the hunt, after an enemy within 30 feet of the Axe Hound falls prone, the Axe Hound moves up to 15 feet towards them. They have some ideas for opportunities, complications. I think this is good enough for me to just start dropping them in. Axe Hound. Harlan is here. He has the exhaustion thing, which is why that's up there. Okay. Let's see. And let's take off the calm music and put on the battle music. Combat encounters. We are going to do... Oh. Axe Hound. Let me make some adjustments. No. Ooh. Okay. Okay, here are the settings. Okay. Link actor data, yes. Occlusion. Interesting. Vision, just gonna turn off vision because we don't need that right now. Then, whoa. I have found a bug. Interesting. Default sheet, character, yeah. Okay. Ooh. Oh. I have found a bug. Bad bug. Okay. Yes. I did not like that. Okay. It did not like... Alright, hold on. Close that. I'm just going to do a refresh of the page real quick. Error while registering configs. Check console for details. I might do that. There we go. Okay. There we go. Alright. Don't minimize this. Does not like minimizing. Let's see. We have to do slow, and let me check their strategy here. Taizo does not have stat block. He takes fast turns only and attempts to run towards you, moving if you're playing with the grid map miniatures. Set them up now. Blah, blah, blah. There are 2 Axe Hounds. The Axe Hounds ignore Taizo and rush towards you. They always take fast turns unless otherwise stated. So, toggle turn speed, fast adversaries. So this is what I meant by the initiative being different. So, Basically, um, you have like four tiers. You have fast characters that go before fast adversaries, that go before slow characters, that go before slow adversaries. Um, if you take a fast turn, you only have two actions. If you take a slow turn, you only have three. You have a total of three actions. Um, so, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. Since they move first, they are going to. Let me make sure I know all the actions I can do. They're gonna do one to move. I'm gonna do one to move, and then one to bite. Oh, okay, they're gonna hit. Thank you for that. Damage. Oh, right. Okay, so that's the other thing about how damage works in this game. So when you do damage, on a hit, you do the damage dice plus your modifier for the skill you used for the test. So, oh, I see. I see the problem here. It's actually not. I rolled a 1, and I should have only added 4. Instead, I added +4/+4. So I need to edit this real quick. Instead of the 1d4/4, it's just the 1d4. There we go. Because I was just blindly following, copying stuff down instead of actually thinking things through. So, oh, I've made a mistake on the music too. Loop. There we go. There we go. I made a mistake there. Okay. So yeah, so there's two options. If you miss, you deal no damage, but you can spend a focus to graze, where you deal damage equal to the total rolled on the weapon dice. If you hit, you deal the damage rolled on the weapon dice plus the modifier for whatever skill you use for the test. And if you have a roll with an opportunity, you do a critical hit, which maximizes the result of the damage dice against all targets of the attack, and treat all damage dice as if they rolled their highest number. Okay. So, my character did not take 9, he took 5. It's down to 6 out of 11. Not good. And the second one's about to come in. And they are going to attack. Same thing. Of course they hit too. Why wouldn't they? I've not been comparing them to the physical defense, but that's because they're rolling high enough that I'm like, I know my physical defense isn't that high. 7 damage. All right. He's down already. That did not take long at all. All right. He's not dead. Harlan isn't dead. Um, Despite your best efforts, you are beaten back by the Axe Hounds. The creatures turn to their original play, closing in on the Shin Man. With a burst of panicked energy, the man leaps to his feet, screaming and waving his uninjured arm wildly. The Axe Hounds pause, and then, wary of their prey's newfound energy, they retreat into the darkness, looking for an easier meal. After a beat, the man, breathing heavily, collapses to his knees. After a few moments, the curly-haired man looks to you, holding his arm gingerly. I'm grateful for your intervention. You have my thanks. Please call me Tazo. Is that it, Tazo? I thought it was Tazo. It's Tazo. Okay, so he, my guy just got swarmed, and yeah. I'm not planning on doing the Stonewalker's adventure, so. And so, yeah. Why is it not playing? It's really weird. Okay. Well, Harlan didn't even get a chance to try, but I'm going to roll anyway because I want to see what would have happened if he got even one chance to do any. Of course, it would have been a crit. God damn it. Would have been the max damage. Would have been the max damage, actually. It wouldn't have been the two. It would have been. Oh, that's real annoying right there. If I can. Oh, click to roll critical damage. Would have been 8 damage, which. What was the health on these things? Health was 12. It wouldn't have been enough to kill him, but. Okay. That ended horribly. That figures. Let's be honest, I tend to have really bad luck whenever I do solo games. Give me a sec. Alright. Sorry, had to sneeze. Well, the game now says, to complete this step, use Chapter 4 in the Storyline Handbook. You should choose one heroic path as your starting path, rather the recommended one or something else. Character's chosen path has a key talent, which you should add to your character sheet. So, looking at the paths, we have 4 choices: leader, scholar, hunter, or envoy. I'm going to roll a d4, and we'll see what comes up. I have a feeling hunter doesn't make sense. Scholar, that honestly kind of fits. So, we're going to go here, character features, rogue paths. We are a scholar. Added the erudition action. Starting skill is lore. So we get a +1 to the starting skill of lore. Hey, did it for us. That's good. So, once you've chosen your character's starting path, the next step depends on the character's chosen ancestry. If you're playing a character with human ancestry, you must choose one more talent. This talent can be from the same heroic path, or you can start a second heroic path. I think I'm just going to pick the talents. Of the options, we could do strategist, which I don't think really fits. Surgeon, maybe. Emotional intelligence, or Antifabrian. You gain a specially cut gemstone and can use it to craft a fabrial. First time you attempt to craft fabrial with this gem, you ignore the usual time requirements for attracting a sprint and crafting the fabrial thanks to previous study. Actually, from what I read, I don't think that would work because you need to attract a sprint and like capture it or kill it, if I recall. So either strategist, where erudition, when you acquire this talent, choose one cultural or utility expertise you don't already have and choose 2 different cognitive skills that aren't surge skills. When you make a test, you count as having the chosen expertise, and you count as having 1 additional rank of each of the chosen skills. You can use the talent to gain skill ranks, even if they exceed your usual maximum for skill ranks. After a long rest, you can reassign. Okay. I think maybe Surgeon is the only one that I think makes sense, because I don't think Strategist is really his thing. So maybe Surgeon. Spend 1 focus to make a DC 15 medicine test. Treat a conscious, willing character within your reach. Test, you gain a disadvantage for treating yourself. On a success, target recovers health equal to the results of the recovery die, plus your ranks in medicine. Failure, they only recover equal to the result of their recovery die. Or this one, emotional intelligence. Your erudition talent grants you additional skill, and you can use erudition to choose spiritual skills that aren't surges. Additionally, you gain a utility expertise in diagnosis. Let's see, we go down this one. Collected, increase your defense by 2. Cause a character to recover health, they recover additional. Ooh, let's do collected. So, surgeon. And still only level 1. Good. Gaining utility expertise in diagnosis. Hey, it's right there. That's cool. Choose one cultural or utility expertise you don't already have. Whenever you make a test, you count as having the chosen expertise, and you count as having 1 additional rank of each of the chosen skills, and you can do this. Okay. So, is there anything I can do? Choose skills and expertises. I didn't. Did a window pop up? I don't think so. Let me see. Execute some macro. Can I do the... Interesting. Execute a macro. Storyline handbook. Macros. The talent set erudition. Choose. Okay. Let me see if I can do that. Can I? Let me see if I can find a macro to do that. Oh, hey. Nope. Not there. Interesting. Might have a bug here. Recharge. No, that didn't work. Okay, that's okay. Not sure if I'm going to continue with this character, but we'll see. Got a second talent. Choose a purpose and an obstacle. Character's purpose is what drives them, what defines them, and what inspires them to the lofty goals of the adventures ahead. Their obstacle, on the other hand, is a flaw that stands in the way of their purpose. This could be pride, impulsiveness, greed, or anything else that keeps them from their full potential. So, what is his purpose? What is something... What drives Harlan? This is going to probably be it. I'm going to say his purpose is he wants to see the world. Maybe not. Because there's part of Rashar. I feel like that's not a good purpose for this one. What would be a good purpose? What inspired him to... I'm going to say he wants to protect the defenseless. This obstacle, I'm going to say, is his cowardice. I'm going to say he is somewhat of a coward. Although, does that really fit? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is... If I'm going to continue with this character or not, or if I'm going to try something, or if I'm even going to continue with this beyond this one episode or not. Let's see. I think... Oh. And what was the ideal? I think secrecy, ironically enough. Secrecy was the one. Illumination, transformation. Philosophy is separate truth from lies, and lie spren are their sprens. So I don't know. Maybe he wants to protect the. Ooh, maybe he wants, instead of wanting to protect the defenseless. We'll do wants all to know the truth. Or how about this? Believes the truth is the most important thing. Okay. And then I'm guessing the spren that's following him is a lie spren, which is interesting. Again, not really sure how I feel about this character. It's very random, very. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a new one. Maybe I won't. But I hope y'all had fun watching. I hope this kind of helped show you kind of if this system is right for you. I know this is on Drive Through RPG. If you want to pick up the core book, just kind of see if you like it or not. Um, well, hopefully this video helped demonstrate enough that you can figure that out on your own before you buy it. Um, like I said, I've only really read the first two of the Stormlight Archive books, and the last time I read the second one was a while back, so not sure how accurate I would be able to do this, but I liked the books. I'll read the third one at some point, and maybe I'll be inspired to do more with this. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.